Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's wife, Sophie Gregoire Trudeau, has tested positive for coronavirus. According to his office, Mr. Trudeau is currently in good health with no symptoms. The couple are now self-isolating. In the Philippines, President Rodrigo Duterte announced plans for a sweeping lockdown of Manila. It's a bid to stem the spread before it takes firm root in the capital's densely packed neighborhoods. He also announced a month of school closures, a ban of mass gatherings, and a halt to domestic travel. US President Donald Trump has said that he isn't concerned about the possibility of being exposed to the virus after dining with an infected Brazilian government official last week. Just days before he tested positive, the press secretary to Brazil's president had uploaded a picture posing next to President Trump, as well as Vice President Mike Pence. The White House said that both Mr. Trump and Pence had almost no interactions with the individual and don't require to be tested at this time. We're joined now by US Bureau Chief Nirmal Ghosh, who's based in Washington, D.C. Nirmal, when we last spoke, the US authorities were struggling to get enough test kits. How has that situation progressed?
It is still failing. Over 1 million test kits are out there now. Private labs are also offering tests, and some of the associated cost of getting a test, they've been waived. But you need certain chemical agents to conduct these tests, and those are short. So you have a situation where in some cases doctors have the tests, but not the agents, so the tests can't be used. So you can say some progress, but still rather shambolic, still way below the level of testing necessary to get a proper handle on the extent of this coronavirus here in the United States. President Trump, for instance, says the US has fewer cases than other countries, but we can't know that for certain because they haven't done more than a few thousand tests. So we don't know how many people out there have the virus.
Now, what do you make of the US ban on travellers coming from Europe, with the exception of the United Kingdom, of course? Do you think that it is sufficient, or will it do more harm than good in terms of bilateral relations? Is this the first of many travel bans?
Yes, the logic of it is that most new infections recently have been in Europe or from Europe, and Europe is borderless, so it doesn't make sense to ban travel from any single country, say Italy or France or Germany. So they had to ban travel from all of Europe. The UK doesn't figure there because it is now not part of the European Union. And by the way, President Trump sort of likes that. He advocated Brexit and he is a fan of strong borders. So the travel ban closes the barn door after the horse has left, essentially. The virus is already here in the US and circulating. We already have community transmission in the US. Now, the US, as we know, isn't the only one to impose some form of travel ban. India this week suspended all current visas, for example. So all these measures do buy some time. In this case, it was done without notifying European countries. There is chaos in several European airports and a massive hit for the airline industry, leave alone associated travel-related services. There are more than 500 flights per week between Europe and the United States. In terms of bilateral relations, it doesn't do any good, but in the greater scheme, probably not that much harm. Europe and everyone else simply has to cope with a strong element of unilateralism of the United States under Donald Trump.
Now, how would you rate Mr. Trump's second address from the Oval Office? Such addresses to the nation can be defining moments for a president to act as commander-in-chief or consoler-in-chief. Was it one for the ages?
It came a bit late in the day, and the president misspoke, giving the impression that cargo and goods from Europe would also be subject to the ban. Later, he had to clarify that isn't the case. So, not a great performance. It tanked the market again, of course. I saw the New York Fed said it will inject $1.5 trillion into short-term funding markets. So you would have to say the address did not inspire a lot of confidence. And by the way, it was interesting that the president referred to the coronavirus as a quote-unquote foreign virus, which has raised a lot of eyebrows as well. Now, having said that, it does signal a shift in the mood. The NBA has cancelled its season. That's a huge deal. Other major events have been scaled back or cancelled. Thousands of schools across the country are now suspended, and kids have shifted to online learning. So this is now affecting people's lives, and people are also being proactive. The New York subway is almost half empty. Broadway has suspended all shows. So there are still things happening. It's not as if everything is at an absolute standstill, but there is a significant shift. There's a wider public perception that this just got very real. And things are moving on from the president's address, actually. Health experts have been in Congress today testifying. Congress is working on a bill. Democrats have been negotiating with the White House all day. And Speaker Nancy Pelosi said the House will vote Thursday on a package of measures to address this crisis, and it will include the payroll tax cut the President mentioned as economic relief. There is also a chance the President will declare a national state of emergency, which would unleash more resources.
Thank you, Nirmal.
Thank
Always
you.
insightful. Now, that was our US Bureau Chief, Nirmal Ghosh. Now, do visit straitstimes.com for developments on the coronavirus situation in the US and the rest of the world.